Good day, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Art Mr. Malik. I'm your host, Mr. Malik. Thank you for joining me. On today's episode, we are going to do some sketchbook diving into one of my sketchbook journals. This one in particularly was dedicated to the house and the neighborhood I grew up in, focusing on my family. And the idea and the point of this was just to talk about having family connections and how you can use a creative way to express what those connections are, and just to kind of tell your story. So this is just a little bit about my story and my family connections in the house and the neighborhood I grew up in. So, you want to see? Come check it out. So one of the first things I did was I got a new journal, and I couldn't decide on what I wanted to do with it. But for Black History Month last year, I dedicated Black History Month not to a person, but to a place. And for me, that place was the house that I grew up in. Here's the house that I grew up in. And I wanted to tell a story about the house from a different perspective. And the perspective I chose was to tell the house from the viewpoint of the pigeons that my grandma used to feed every day in our neighborhood. And so I imagined what the neighborhood and what the house would look like from a bird's eye view or from a pigeon's eye view, and with all the colors that they might have saw, and just what it would look like in my imagination from a bird's point of view of what our house and our neighborhood at the time looked like. And so at first I kind of played around with different mediums. This is some pastel with some paint. And then eventually I settled in just doing paint. And I really liked how it came out because just the colors itself really tells a story. And I kept a very limited palette, which means I think I only had about maybe 5 or 6 colors that I used in the entire book to tell the story. And the challenge in that was creating different images that told the story without actually having each image look the same, but using the same colors for the most part. And I really liked the way it came out because each angle of the house, each picture, for me, definitely does tell a story. And as you can hear from the sound, the paint is still sticking together with the pages. And here are the birds that my grandma used to feed, right? Here I am in my window when I was a kid. And so this is just, again, a quick art book that I chose to narrate my own personal story using my house as a subject. And you guys can do the same thing. It's actually my first time doing some abstract work, using colors and combining it with a specific image at the same time. So for me, it was a different way of expressing myself using my art and colors that I really liked because, again, it gave me a chance to express myself in a different way and kind of experiment. Here is the pigeons again. I call this guy Perry the pigeon. He's the main character of the storyline. Right now, the book doesn't have any words, but I do want to create a book that uses the pictures as a background by adding words to tell the story a little bit more deeper of my family and the history we have here in this house. And one of the things I like to do whenever I create art like this is to look back at the work months or years later to really see what I was doing at that time. And I always surprise myself because I never know the feeling it's going to bring back when I look back at it. So for me, this is a really cool reflection on where I came from. And this is different styles of art that I experimented with to create this type of imagery. This is very much minimalist art, contemporary art, kind of abstract art, kind of fused all together. And as you can see, the house remains the main character. but I draw it and express it in different ways so that the viewers can see it in a different aspect, I guess. And it really goes deep into the abstract world. For me, it tells a story, again, of the history of the house, the foundation, some of the roots of the house. And a lot of people are going to see different things in the abstractness of the images, which is another reason why I like doing it, because it pulls out different images for people when you have abstract art like this. And here we are, getting towards the end of the book. Again, telling my story. I love the way the colors really fuse together. It's so much imagery you can pull out of this by looking at it. The contrast of dark versus light. I really enjoy doing this. So again, next time you see this will probably be more in a book form, because I definitely want to add the storyline over top of this. But this was a good start. I'm very proud of this and where I've gotten so far. Check this out, right? There's a lot going on, but at the same time, it sticks to the same narrative. I did my whole neighborhood in this particular piece here, adding more houses. And to finish off, here we are with Perry the Pigeon, the main character and his crew. So I hope you enjoyed this quick little tour of my sketchbook, using, again, my house as some creative inspiration to create this type of narrative book. Just right now using images, but eventually I will, like I said, add words to it to actually write the story. So until then, thank you for joining me, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.